How can I code more with less time? What's going on, everybody? My name is Kev Pro Dev and I'm back again with another video. But today's talk is basically how can I code more with less time? Seems impossible, seems hard, seems gimmicky, seems like a scam. It's really not. Just a little bit of finesse and attention, you actually can do this. We're gonna do it right now. Let's get into it. My first tip, I have three main tips. This is the first tip. First of all, I'm gonna make a disclaimer. These are just some of my advice. There's other people out there that have their own opinions, may conflict with mine, may agree with me. I don't know, but hopefully they will be helpful and push your development process to the next level and push it forward. Really, at the end of the day, we're all trying to help each other, and I'm just trying to add to the community and help people push their coding skills to the next level. So without further ado, I'm going to get into my first tip. Automate what can be automated. Time is precious. It's like a jewel. Time, you cannot get time back. Once it's gone forever. You can't get it back. You can't. The richest person cannot buy his time back, or I wouldn't say buy his time back, but he cannot get more time. He can buy his time back, but he can't buy more time. And what I mean by that is you can basically automate things in your life that's taking up more time in your life from coding. So for me, like, I might want to go to Walmart and just buy something. But I'm like, wait a minute, let me just go on Amazon. I can just order it on Amazon. It can go straight to my house. So a lot of times I'll buy things on Amazon a lot of times just to save the convenience sometimes. Even if the product's a little bit more, it's the time that I'm really trying to get back. So that's one of my key things. Automate the stuff that's in your life so therefore you can get more time to code. Because if you're not trying to master the stuff around the code, outside of coding, it's going to consume your life. You know what I mean? It's going to take away from the time that you can code. So I'm always constantly learning, trying to master my stuff that's outside of coding, how to condense it down and make more ways to doing it faster, smarter, or cheaper, whatever it is, just to get my hands back on this computer so I can continue to code and better myself in my career. My next step, or my next tip, is always make a plan with the results in mind. That is powerful. It's significant, because if you don't make plans, like they say, if you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail. Really, like, if you don't plan to do whatever you're going to do in this career as far as web development, whether you want to be on the front end, the back end, whether you want to be a full stack or just, one or the other, you have to pick something. And then once you pick it, now you have your goal, you have your results of where you want to be. So for me, I want to be a full stack developer, but I know it's a process. So I need to find out, okay, full stack developer knows the back end and front end. They know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some frameworks and stuff like React, Angular, this, that, and the third. And they also know the back end, whether that's a Node, MongoDB, or MySQL, whatever it is, something in the back, on the back end. I know that before I get to the top level, I have to do the things before the top level. So right now I'm in the process of learning and mastering React. So I want to master React and really get it down packed in my system. But before I learned React, I started learning and mastering JavaScript. And before I learned JavaScript, I started learning HTML and CSS. So everything is a process and a step. So when I wrote all these things down, I'm like, this is where I want to be. And I'm like, before I get there, I got to make this. So if I want to make $1 million, I got to figure out how can I make half of that, 500,000. And then how can I make 500,000? I got to figure out how to make 100,000. Before I can make 100,000, I got to figure out how to make 50,000. Before I make 50,000, I got to figure out how to make like 10,000. So everything is steps, and you got to learn where you're at in your process. And when you learn where you're at, now you have basically scope. You know where you're at in the noise of coding, and you cannot panic or worry like, am I really learning enough? You know, and it'll just go on forever. You'll watch video tutorials and you'll never be accomplishing anything that's pushing you to your end goal. You'll be just doing a lot of small little parties or, you know, celebrations for yourself, but it really won't be pushing you forward, you know? And my last tip, I don't want to hold you guys too long. My last tip is basically learn the code and do it daily. Then repeat it and then teach it. I know it's a lot. Condense it down. Basically, learn the code and turn around and teach the code. That is a major thing for me, is learning what I'm doing and then teaching it back to myself so I know that I know. Because a lot of times when we're listening to a YouTube video, and I can use myself for an example. Before I use anybody, I'll use myself as an example all the time. It's been cases where I'll go in and I'll be watching YouTube videos and just be watching the whole day, and I haven't touched not one bit of code. I'm into it, but I'm only 40% because I'm not really using my full capability of my brain, because I'm really not doing anything. I'm just listening to what they're saying. But once I start actually coding, now I'm active. I'm actually doing it. So now I'm probably using maybe 60% of my brain, because now I'm listening to what they did, and then I'm actually carrying that thing out and executing it. So now it feels even more real. And my brain is like, this is something of value. We need to remember this. But if I go another step further and I start teaching it, whether I'm teaching it to myself or teaching it to a jug of apple juice, don't ask me why I got that right there. But if I'm teaching it to myself, that's like 90% brain level, because you have to know what you're saying to tell somebody. If I ask you how to get downtown, you gotta, if you don't know, you can't teach me how to get downtown. So that is my 3 tips. And I want to go back over them really quickly just for an overview. Automate what can be automated. Always make a plan with the results in mind. Repeat what you learn daily and then teach it. I appreciate you guys for watching my video. I don't want to be too long. Try to keep this under 12 minutes, really 10 minutes. But I want to give a lot of helpful tips and a lot of examples in my video. I'm new on the scene of the web development community, and I'm just trying to add my 2 cents to the pond, so to say. So I appreciate you guys. I see you again. I'm out.